right, people, I'm going to put this one squarely in the rumor category because it hasn't been verified by any like major trades. And a warning, this video is going to be kind of long because I have a lot to read. But anyways, many places are claiming that Ben Affleck has signed a contract to return as Batman on HBO Max beyond the Snyder Cut. Now, we've heard rumblings about this, but no straight confirmation from anyone. I think I've mentioned it before on the channel, but we have more about this developing story, this developing rumor I want to stress again. We don't know if it's true. And, you know, we probably wouldn't even get any news about Ben Affleck's Batman coming back even more beyond the Snyder Cut until after the Snyder Cut is released and is successful, right? I don't know if they would, like, announce to everybody that Ben Affleck's coming back for, like, his own series or HBO Max movies until they knew the Snyder Cut was successful, have the numbers and that sort of thing. They don't have that yet. They won't have it until 2021. So I think it's premature for Warner Brothers to make an announcement about this. It would just be stuff they'd be doing behind the scenes. But anyways, let's read this Cosmic Book News article that has information. Ben Affleck signs Batman contract for HBO Max. The new info claims that Ben Affleck has already signed a new contract to return as Batman and that Affleck will be involved in additional appearances related to HBO Max and Zack Snyder's Justice League movies. So basically, you know, we're going to see him come back, return in the Snyder Cut, but that's just the first taste of Batfleck. He'll be back for more beyond it. Ben has indeed signed a new contract, and he is coming back, says Taylor Murphy of The Cultured Nerd. The official announcement is expected to happen either at DC Fandom or during JusticeCon. Okay, so I said before that they probably wouldn't say anything until after they knew the Snyder Cut was successful, but according to this, they're going to do it much earlier, as soon as maybe this July or August, because that's July is JusticeCon later this month, and Fandom is August next month. One of the two, we're going to get that announcement, but it's going to happen before September. We're going to get the official announcement, and we are going to get the Snyderverse Batman is going to be returning. That last part of that sentence seemed phrased strangely to me, but anyways. Murphy goes on to shoot down the notion that Michael Keaton was brought in to replace Ben Affleck as Batman, as well as Robert Pattinson being a replacement, as what is being created as a DC multiverse. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty obvious that that's what DC is doing with all these different Batman. I mean, if people haven't picked that up, I think... Well, I guess not everybody like follows multiverse and alternate universe in comics. A lot of people who watch these movies are people who they don't follow. They just go see, oh, look, it's this Bat movie with Batman in it. They don't follow like comic book lore and stuff. So maybe there are a lot of people who don't understand that a multiverse is being made. They are bringing everybody back, says Murphy. This is planned. This is a design because of Zack. This is a plan that they're moving forward with. I mean, I keep saying it is a great time to be a DC fan. It is, but I think that it will be the time to be the great time to be a DC fan. It'll get even sweeter and greater in the coming years, because I think they're finally starting to AT&T and Warner Brothers are starting to embrace DC. You know, not be ashamed of it or not know what to do with it. They're really, you know, leaning into the fact that they have this rich, diverse IP with all these awesome characters, and they're accepting it and running with it. Right? Something they didn't really do before. Murphy also brings up a good point in that the artwork released with the DC Fandom virtual convention looks like the DC multiverse. Yeah, I guess you could kind of say that. I mean, it definitely has a cosmic element to it because it has, you know, these different, like, chunks of land floating in space. And, you know, there's a dome motif. But I didn't think multiverse. I just think, like, I thought actually of, like, you know how Brainiac takes cities or planets and puts them in bottles or domes and stores them away. That's what I thought of. Like, you know, Brainiac collecting civilizations. Not a multiverse, but that's just me. Regarding why Ben Affleck agreed to return as Batman, it's said because Affleck will once again be in control of his Batman. Interestingly enough, Jeff Johns has been blamed as the reason why Ben Affleck left the Batman role, as Johns is said to have caused interference with Affleck's decisions involving the script. That pains me to hear. There's a lot of hatred on directed at Jeff Johns in the fan community. It's sad because I'm a Jeff Johns fan. I like Jeff Johns. I've read his comics. I don't know what happened, but I don't know. It is sad to see that, you know, Maybe, I don't know, a lot of people are thinking he's shady, but that he's getting so much hate heaped on him. Man, I don't know. The fanboy in me is unhappy to hear that. In addition, Zack Snyder brought Affleck on board as his choice for the DCEU Dark Knight, and since Snyder had left Justice League, Affleck decided it wasn't worth all the headaches to remain as Batman. Johns is also blamed for screwing over Snyder and problems with Justice League. Now that Zack Snyder is back and the Snyder Cut is getting released, Ben Affleck has agreed to return as Batman also on HBO Max. Murphy says Affleck agreed to return as Batman on HBO Max because he didn't want to take anything away from the new Robert Pattinson Batman, who was starring in the upcoming Matt Reeves movie. I think a lot of people misconstrued why he left in the first place. A lot of people will say, oh, Ben left because he almost killed himself in the role. They take it further than it really was. Essentially, Ben took the role because of Zack. Zack convinced him. He sold him on the pitch. He loved the idea, and he built that loyalty to Zack. When Zack left, Ben still stayed behind. He said, I can make this work. I'll do this. I'm still producing this. I'm going to make it happen. But it started happening to him too. He started losing his control. What he wanted to do with the role, he started losing it. And then he lost his interest in it. Eventually, his own health concerns came up, and he realized if he kept going down this path, he wouldn't get what he wanted. He wouldn't get to do the role he signed up for. And it was just compromise after compromise. Murphy continues by noting that with Zack Snyder back in full force, quote, full force, that Ben Affleck decided to sign back on as Batman. He didn't want to compromise, so he backed out, but then the magic happened. Zack came back in full force. All the people that caused the issues to begin with are gone. Zack is back. He's making his movie. They pretty much gave him a blank check to finish Zack Snyder's Justice League. How big of a blank check? Is it bigger than that 30 to 70 million we heard before? Maybe so. So giving that level of trust back to Zack Snyder was a huge moment for Ben, and having the idea that Zack is back on control of his project, and the idea that he can then move forward with the project that Zack wanted to make, the Batman movie he wanted to make, and have Zack in his corner, that was enough to sell him on the return. It says of the return, but I think they mean on the return. So there we have it. That was a lot of information for one article, right? But, you know, we got our money's worth with this one, right? So yeah, this article is very pro Zack Snyder, as a lot of DC fans are, and it credits like Ben Affleck's willingness to return for multiple appearances to Zack Snyder coming back too. His loyalty to Zack Snyder. That's something we see over and over again, I think, in many different places, that a lot of the Justice League cast, they like Zack Snyder and are loyal to him. And that makes sense because he basically gave a lot of them careers. Like, people didn't really know who Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and Ezra Miller were. I mean, they weren't at the level that they are now until Zack Snyder put them as superheroes. So, you know, Ray Fisher too. Cyborg's the biggest role of Ray Fisher's career. So, I get it. But yeah, do we believe these rumors? I don't, about Ben Affleck returning as Batman beyond the Snyder Cut. It makes sense that they would do this, but what I find weird is that they would commit to this before knowing how successful the Snyder Cut is, right? Like, if the Snyder Cut fails, they don't want to have made all this commitment to Ben Affleck returning before. I mean, his return will be crippled, right? I mean, it makes sense that they would wait until the Snyder Cut is successful and then be like, well, you like seeing Ben Affleck back in this successful movie or streaming series, you're going to get more of him, right? I mean, that's the time, I think, to say, you know, Ben Affleck's back. To make that announcement before, I don't know, it could be you putting all of your eggs in one basket before you know if that basket's going to, you know, give you good results. But I guess looking at it on the other side, Ben Affleck returning to Batman and getting more on HBO Max, that would build up momentum in the hype train for Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? It's like, Ben Affleck's back, and you're going to get more of him. But the first time you'll see him return will be in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Go ahead and subscribe to HBO Max to learn more. I could see it being like that. Like, they could make all these announcements about, you know, the DC multiverse and other things in HBO Max leading up to the Snyder Cut's release to build up momentum and hype and marketing. So that actually makes sense. But I don't know. It's all a rumor. What do you think? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.